Good day, folks. Welcome to Just Omer. My name is Omer Ahern Jr., and I am a Grafton County Commissioner here in New Hampshire. And this is my periodic report to the people of Grafton County and beyond about what's happening in their Grafton County government and the Grafton County Home and the Grafton County Department of Corrections and the Grafton County Farm, which are all located up in North Haverhill, New Hampshire. And the county land and county buildings are all on the east side of the Connecticut River. So we have a real wonderful source there in terms of water and good things because we're so close to the Connecticut River. Again, this is my periodic report, and I want to thank PBTV here in Plymouth for giving me this opportunity. And today I've got some really important things to share with you, but I just want to make sure that that I explain to you what county government and what the county commissioners in New Hampshire do, what our responsibilities are, and how we try to do our jobs as public servants for the people of Grafton County. So there are 10 counties in the state of New Hampshire. County governments were first set up back by the state legislature in the mid-1870s. And at the time that the counties were set up, they were set up to have a nursing home for the elderly, a Department of Corrections for people that get in trouble with the law, but for if they're sentenced to any length of time or to be pretrial incarceration, that's what the County House of Correction is for. If anybody is sentenced by the court in a criminal matter to more than a year and a day in jail, then they cannot spend that time, beyond the year and a day in the House of Correction, the County House of Correction. They have to spend it in the state prison. But anyone who's sentenced to less than a year and a day in jail, they can spend that time in the County House of Correction. And again, there's a county nursing home and a County House of Correction in every one of the 10 counties here in the state of New Hampshire. One of the things that's now unique about Grafton County, and again, which was set up in the original legislation back in the mid-1870s, was that each county home, county facility was to have a county farm. With the purpose of the farm originally was to feed the residents in the nursing home, feed the inmates in the House of Correction, and to also feed any staff that are on duty, and at the time, a meal might be served or snacks or something like that. So Grafton County is the last county in New Hampshire to still have an active working dairy farm. And we have a very good, he's an interim farm manager for a while, and Ben White, and he's doing a fantastic job. And he got us through, the COVID when we had a hard time finding people to work on the farm. We because of the bail laws in New Hampshire, we had a hard time getting labor from the House of Correction, from the inmates. So that's one of the essential things to make our farm in Grafton County more operative, is by being able to use the inmate labor. Again, the county commissioners, there are 3 of us. The chairperson of the Board of Commissioners is Commissioner Wendy Piper, and she is the District 1 Commissioner, and District 1 encompasses the 3 towns of Hanover, Lebanon, and Enfield. And Commissioner Piper is the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners. The other commissioner that I serve with is Commissioner Martha McLeod, and she is the commissioner from District 2. And District 2 encompasses all the towns in Grafton County, north of Hanover, and along the Connecticut River up to the northern part of Grafton County where it meets Coos County, and then comes down about to a upper middle part of the county, and that is District 2. Those towns include Littleton and of course Bath. So those are the towns that are involved there. My district is District 3, and that encompasses the towns from Campton and Holderness and Warren and Wentworth, going south to the Bristol area and Holderness area. So those are the towns, and then all the towns in Grafton County along the west side of the east side of the county. So these are but when the commissioners are working as commissioners, they represent all the people of Grafton County. We're just elected from our different districts. So the commissioners, again, are responsible for the operation and the maintenance of the county nursing home. In Grafton County, we have a 135-bed nursing home. And one of my reports today is going to be the report we got yesterday at our regular meeting, regular weekly meeting from the nursing home administrator, Craig Labor. We've got his report, so I'm going to have some numbers, figures of residents and so on. So that's the first thing that we're responsible for, is that 135-bed nursing home for the elderly and those that need such care here within Grafton County. Although we're making an exception now, and I'll talk with you about that in a few minutes as well. The other operations that the Grafton County Commissioners are responsible for managing and operating and make sure is being done according to the laws is the Grafton County Department of Corrections, the correctional facility. And that is a 150-bed facility. And we actually have if the need arises and we need to put more beds in there, we can meet, we can provide at least another 50 to 75 beds within that facility because of the different pods that we have in there. So we're responsible for hiring all of the department heads. The commissioners are responsible for hiring the maintenance supervisor, and we're going to talk a little bit about our maintenance supervisor, Jim Oakes, today. We're responsible for hiring the superintendent of the Department of Corrections, Tim Lethbridge. He's a relatively new superintendent, having moved up here from Florida, and he was hired to take the position of the previous correctional superintendent who retired, and so we needed to replace that position, and the commissioner sent out ads looking for a new correctional superintendent. And then we're also responsible, as I said, for the operations of the nursing home. So those are the three main things: the nursing home, the Department of Corrections, and the farm. But that involves quite a few kind of potentially complicated things, like finding enough staffing, help, employees to run all those operations. The nursing home is a 24-hour, per day, 7 days a week, 12 months out of the year operation. We have to have people staffed according to federal and state regulations. We have to have a ratio of nursing staff to residents in the nursing home. And if we can't meet that ratio, staffing ratio, then we can't have in as many residents in the nursing home as to meet our full capacity, 135 beds. So that's one of the things I'm going to talk about today too in Craig Labor's report. Craig is the county nursing home administrator. And then, so I'm going to talk about those things. Just to let you know, and anybody out there can attend a Grafton County Commissioner meeting in person, or if you make a phone call up to Sam Norcross, the administrative assistant, she can give you a Zoom link to attend the commissioners via the internet, via Zoom. And I encourage you to attend any of our meetings to hear what's going on. And again, we meet every Tuesday morning. Sometimes we have to change it if we have a hearing that needs to be held in the afternoon. But we start our meetings at 9 o'clock, and sometimes they'll go to 11 o'clock, sometimes they'll go to 2 o'clock. It all depends on what's on the agenda and what work needs to be done. So we meet on Tuesday, and we met yesterday. And we start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. And our first person on the agenda is Karen Clough, the Human Resource Director. And she gave us her monthly report. And this is a very important report because this tells us, what vacancies we have in our different operation parts of the county. And so she gives us a human resources activity report, and for the last 30, and this is reports dated June 4th, and we had the first item on her report is new hires, and so her report says with regard to the nursing home, we had 2 full-time people hired into the nursing home, and I'll tell you what those positions are. And then we had 1 part-time person hired into the nursing home. One of those positions was a full-time housekeeper, and the other one was a part-time dietary aide. No nursing staff, which is one of the things that we need to do, and you'll see more of that in this report. The other new hires we had was 1 full-time person in the Department of Corrections, and that was for a full-time corrections officer. And the Sheriff's Department, that Sheriff's Department is also housed at the county complex up in North Haverhill. But the sheriff himself is a constitutional officer, but he looks to the county to provide him with office space and to provide him with some administrative staff. And but the sheriff and also the budget. I mean, the Sheriff's Department's got to present a budget, and that's the other thing we're involved in right at this moment is preparing the county budget for the fiscal year 2025, which starts on July 1st. And I may talk a little bit about that after I finish these other 3 reports. So the Sheriff's Department hired a part-time bailiff. So the sheriff's, and because the county courthouse is also located on the county property up there in North Haverhill, we're kind of responsible for the maintenance of that building. And this building, that our present courthouse up there in North Haverhill, which houses the county superior court, the county circuit court, and the sheriff's office, and the county attorney's office, although the county attorney has expanded. So she has some of her staff in the county administration building. So there's just, that's an operation now that's also going to be discussed here in a few minutes, because that building has been around since the 1970s. And that building, we've got reports now from architects and engineers, and basically they say to repair the present courthouse would cost some millions of dollars more than what it would take to build a new county courthouse. But one of the issues is we've got to make sure that the state of New Hampshire, which is in charge of the superior courts, is going to be willing to lease the space the county courthouse in order to perform its superior court needs. So that's another issue that's going to enter into our final decision as to whether this new building that the county has to make a decision about, whether they're going to build it, a new building, or they're going to keep the old building as it is. Just a lot of issues that we're still working on, and that's part of the report that we got from Mr. Oakes, the maintenance supervisor. So the second part of the human resource report is separations. So we had one full-time licensed nurse assistant, licensed nursing assistant leave. Then from the maintenance department, we had one full-time custodian leave. Then from the Department of Corrections, we had one full-time corrections officer leave. So the corrections officer that was hired just makes up for the corrections officer, the full-time corrections officer that parted from the county. And then the other separation that's listed is one part-time bailiff. So that kind of just makes up for the part-time bailiff that we hired. So there's really no increase in staffing. And some of the reasons that people resigned or left, one had personal reasons or no reason. There were 2 terminations. There was one new job, career change. And so these things happen. So that's where we are in that regard. So we have active leave of absences between May 7th, 2004 to June 4th, 24. And we've got 12 people from the nursing home, 11 are intermittent, 8 are for self needs, and then 4 leaves of absences are for family issues. From the nursing home, and that's the nursing department at the nursing home. In the non-nursing department at the nursing home, there are 7 intermittent absences, 5 for family and 3 for self. Maybe for medical issues. The sheriff's department, the dispatch center, there's 2 intermediate absences for self reasons. The HR department, we've got 1 intermittent. Actually, we got two people on leave of absence. 1 intermittent for family reasons, and the other one left for is on absence for self reasons. The alternative sentencing department, which I'm not going to be talking about today, but I have talked about in the past. There's 1 intermittent absence for family reasons, and then the maintenance department has 2 intermittent, 1 for family and 1 for self. So when these people are out on leaves of absences, we need to somehow fill those positions when they're gone, and that makes it much more difficult to meet the ratios at the nursing home, so that are put on us by the state and the federal government, the CMS, Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. So it's just a very challenging job for the Human Resources Department and for the commissioners to do their job. So it's just this report is also available with the commissioners' minutes, which, when they're approved, this will be online through the county commissioner's website, or the county website. So my time is moving on here. The next report was from Jim Oakes, the maintenance superintendent, and he talked about you needed to get approval from the commissioners to accept a bid for fixing up the administration building roof. And so the commissioners approved that bid that he received. There were 2 bids, and we accepted the lower of the 2 bids. And so that was approved 3-0 by the commissioners. We also received from him the Grafton County Courthouse facility concerns. And that's a 2-page plus document, which we will be discussing more in detail with the members of the county delegation. I think we're going to do a tour with the members of the county delegation next Monday or next Friday. Depends on when the delegation can be available, because the state legislature is still in session. And the county delegation members are made up of the state representatives who are all elected from within Grafton County. So the delegation members and your state reps are the same person. And so when people run for state representative within counties in New Hampshire, they're looking at, a two-part job. So this is the report from Jim Oakes on the Grafton County Courthouse. We will be talking about this a little bit more in the upcoming months as the decision is tried to be made. One of the most important report that I want to get to you, although Karen Klutz, the Human Resource Director, is very important, is the report from Craig Labor, the nursing home administrator, as part of his monthly report. And this will also be available on the Grafton County Commissioner's website when the minutes from this meeting are fully approved and they're all posted online. So right now, the present census as of June 4th is we have 3 Medicare residents in the nursing home. We have 85 Medicaid residents in our nursing home at this time. And this is something that is kind of interesting. The state of Vermont evidently needs more rooms for their Medicaid people that live in the state of Vermont. So we also have, of that 85 Medicaid residents in the Grafton County nursing home, 15 of them are from the state of Vermont. And one of the things that's kind of interesting is the state of Vermont has a payment process for its Medicaid patients that is higher than what the state of New Hampshire reimburses the nursing home. So we're very pleased to be able to provide these homes, nursing home care for these 15 Vermont residents. We have 6 Veterans Administration residents in our nursing home. Sometimes those are just for rehab and they're not there for all that long, but we try to take care of our veterans as best we can. And then we have 1 person in the nursing home for hospice purposes. And then we have 17 private pay residents. And of course, the private pay people, what they pay per day to be a resident of the nursing home is higher than the Medicare and Medicaid rates. So right now we have a total of 112 residents in the Grafton County nursing home. And then for the fiscal year 24 budget, we had budgeted at this point to have only 98 in our census. So we're above our census by about 14 residents, which is good. That means we've got a little bit more income coming in than what we had anticipated. The monthly discharges and admissions, we had 8 admissions in the last 30 days. We had 3 of our residents who passed away, 3, and then we had 4 that were discharged. Other topics that he discussed with us, that Mr. Labor discussed with us, that the first one is all financial related. And he discussed with us the state of New Hampshire Medicaid rate reduction. Now, that's not a good word, because when the commissioners put together their budget in early June, that budget was based upon certain, I can't use the word promises, but certain representations that the state of New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services and the Medicare and Medicaid people at the state of New Hampshire made to Grafton County, and they make similar representations to the other 9 counties. And what they've done is they have cut back on what they said they were going to pay us in the fiscal year 25. So there's just a lot of numbers that were discussed, and those numbers are all described in this packet of papers here. And to make a long story short, what the state of New Hampshire had led us to believe we were going to have available to get from the state of New Hampshire, because the state of New Hampshire, by state law, does provide a certain amount of funding for the people that are on Medicaid and Medicare in our nursing home. And you're going to hear terms, if you talk to your state representatives about this, you're going to hear things from about pro-share, and part of that is the certified public expenditure reconciliation from the 2 previous years. You're going to hear about CPA, the certified public expenditure reconciliation, looking into the interim payments that were received in 2022, because it's all based upon numbers and previous years, and it's not a simple thing. And and then this all I can say is it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So we're very fortunate to have a county administrator who is an excellent finance person, and that's Julie Libby. She's been an employee of Grafton County for, I guess, almost 32 years, and she's come up through the ranks, and she has a very good understanding of these numbers. So we're very fortunate to have County Administrator Libby there. She attends all of the commissioner meetings. She's an excellent source of information for the commissioners as we try to make our decisions. A lot of them are financial, as being in the best interest of the people of Grafton County, the taxpayers, and all the residents. So I probably would have needed about believe it or not, we spent about 2 hours talking about the what the state of New Hampshire has done in not keeping to what they said they were going to do as we planned for this year's budget. Some people might have some other words for that. I'm just going to say they are not doing what they said they were going to do. There were some other things that we have to do. The county is in a position to act as a middleman, middle person, when dealing with community development block grants. So there were some documents that had to be signed by the chairperson of the Grafton County Board of Commissioners, and of these community development block grant paperwork, she needed to sign a closeout agreement with regard to a microcredit agreement from 2020, and then she had a contract amendment for microcredit for 2023. She had to sign a contract amendment approved by the commissioners for the NHARDC for 2023, and then she had to sign a contract for the Lakes Region PC on their transformational planning grant. And then she needed to sign off on a drawdown for a micro grant from the GRDC. So these are the things that we're responsible for keeping track of. The offices at the Grafton County Administration Building will be closed not only on July 4th, but also on July 5th. But the staff people that are going to be taking July 5th off. That's going to be part of their regular system. And then again, I talked about the courthouse facility. Concern summary from Mr. Oakes. So, just about out of time. Yeah, this is a lot of information. I'm just a phone call away. Even though I'm a District 3 County Commissioner, I'll talk with any member of the public. I only have one phone number. I don't have a cell phone because we don't have cell service in the town of Wentworth where my office is and where I live. But my phone number is 603-764-6024. My email, and I only have one email, that was my one concession to the 21st century, is omer.ahern.jr@gmail.com. So I just want to thank Commissioner Piper and Commissioner McLeod for the services that they provide. And I want to thank one more time the folks here at PBTV for giving me this opportunity. I apologize if this sounded disjointed. Please take care. God bless America, and God bless the great state of New Hampshire. Thank you.